Hello and welcome to Super Over Decoded, powered by IDFC FIRST Bank. Well, India versus West Indies, even though this was last of the league games in the Super 8s, but this was as good as a quarterfinals. It was a straight shootout. Whoever wins would go on to qualify for the semis. West Indies, they did not help themselves losing to South Africa. India coming into this game after beating Zimbabwe convincingly. And because of the last game, that South Africa-West Indies game, it was quite sure that India, it was a straight shootout. So obviously under pressure, both the teams, and that too at Eden Gardens. Mind you, West Indies has a superb record at Eden Gardens. I don't think they've ever lost a T20I game at Eden Gardens. It suits them. The pitch, we knew that it's going to be a high-scoring one. It generally is. Maybe in this World Cup it hasn't been that high scoring, but in the IPL and in other international bilaterals as well, we've seen how good this surface is to bat on. So it was always going to be a high scoring affair, which does suit India, but then it also suits West Indies and their power hitters. Well, so it was going to be a tough one. It was, I think, in the end would boil down to who bowled better comparatively more than anything else. And that's where I think this game was going to be. Well, West India won the toss and they decided to field first, keeping in mind chasing, even though you would want to bat first. And I was thinking about it. It's a knockout game, high scoring venue. Should India bat first, put up a big total? But I think the due factor was an important factor, and that's the reason I believe India chose to field first and try and chase this total down. In terms of changes, no changes, and I mentioned in the last video as well here that I'd like this playing 11 with Sanju opening. Well, we'll talk about him. Surely we'll talk about him. And West Indies as well. Roston Chase came in and he was going to open. That was a bit of a surprise, keeping in mind they had to find a place for an off spinner if required against the left-handers, the Indian left-handers, quite a few of them in the Indian batting order. But that's what it stood after the toss. India winning it and electing to field first. India versus West Indies. You expect fireworks, big hits, momentum swings. But here's what more often than not decides the game. Rhythm. A bowler hitting the same length, a batter finding timing, over after over. Not dramatic, but consistent. That's how totals are built. Savings works in rhythm too. Not once in 3 months, not occasionally, every single month. With IDFC FIRST Bank savings account, you earn monthly interest credits. So your money starts growing sooner. And when interest is credited every month, the compounding starts earlier. Steady growth, consistent rhythm, and stronger outcome. Because in cricket and in savings, consistency quietly changes the results. Well, obviously, it was a little bit of a surprise that Roston Chase came out to open. Well, he doesn't have a very high strike rate usually if you think about it. But then, obviously, Brandon King before this, he hasn't scored many runs. And I think they needed his off spin. But it started off well, actually. If you think about it, how well they started off, even though Shea hoped you would expect him to score at a better pace than that. But he scored 32 of 33, was a little on the slower side, but wasn't a bad start because Roston Chase, for a surprise, at a strike rate of 160, he got 40 runs. I think that looked good. And Shimron Hetmyer was absolutely brilliant, 27 of 12. That Jasprit Bumrah over, because at 11.2, there was some 100 plus for one, and they were looking like they're going to get 210, 220. And that Jasprit Bumrah, he came back, picked up those couple of wickets of Roston Chase and Shimron Hetmyer, and that was such a key. And India had a good phase in between there. Over from Hardik, Sherwin Rutherford's wicket, that middle phase, that 12, 13, 14 overs, that phase, that's where India pulled it back and Jasprit Bumrah showing his class again. Those couple of wickets were so crucial in the context of the game. Another important mention would be Arshdeep, even though he was expensive in the first half of his spell. But I think the 19th over, he went for only 6 runs. I think that was a crucial over as well, thinking about it. It was a crucial over from the point of view that another boundary, maybe a couple of boundaries, and the 19th over coming back and conceding only 6. Good effort. And Jason Holder was brilliant again, and along with him, Rovman Pal, Their partnership, Rahman Pal scored at 170, 180 strike rate, 160 for Jason Holder. As a partnership, they scored 78 of 36, something on those lines, strike rate of 200. And that went to 195, and 195 is a lot of runs. And keeping in mind the fact that we're talking about a knockout game, a place in the semis, India, who are expected to be in the semis, the least expectation would be the semis, and for that I think India was under a lot of pressure. Now 195 was a very good score. A lot of credit to Jason Holder, Rahman Pal. That partnership got West Indies right back into the game and put pressure back on India. India, started off with Akil Hussain, West Indies, and India with Sanju Samson again. Abhishek didn't last. I guess one thing, that's a shot that he does hit over mid-wicket and does it quite well, but again got out. But Hetmeyer took a really good catch. So the start was alright. First 6 overs, 53 for 2. At least you got going in terms of the run rate, but ideally 2 wickets, maybe 1 wicket too many for India's comfort, chasing down a big total of 196. But again, credit to Sanju Samson. And then how Sanju Samson played after that was very, very crucial, because soon after that Surya fell as well, and Surya got out. Not a very high strike rate. Good catch again to get Surya out. But then Sanju and Tilak, that partnership was so crucial. Even, let's say, Tilak did not score a lot of runs. If you think about it, 27 of 15. But India had kind of started losing in that middle phase after losing those 3 wickets. Started losing the impetus, the momentum. What that partnership did was get that momentum back, and also allowed Sanju Samson to play that sheet anchor role, right? I'll come back to that. We'll talk about that sheet anchor role, I think, which is very, very crucial as well. That partnership made sure that India consolidated that innings, and that's such an important part of consolidation in this format, and especially in a high scoring game where you can't lose wicket, but you have to keep going, right? You have to keep scoring at a really high rate as well. But that's where I think Sanju took a back seat, and he wasn't really playing too many big shots, and it was then taken over by Tilak, and his innings was superb. 27 of 15, almost at 200, that strike rate, and that got India back. And then again that small partnership with Hardik Pandya. Hardik was 17 of 14, not a huge one, but by then Sanju had taken over. This is one of the best run chases, keeping in mind the pressure and everything and the context of the game. Sanju was absolutely brilliant. Risk-free cricket. While Tilak on the other end, if you think about this run chase, they're small. This is why in T20 cricket, impact is more important than sheer numbers. The impact of that Tilak Verma innings was so important. Wasn't a big one, but it was very, very impactful innings from Tilak. Then Hardik came in and he continued, but then by then Sanju had taken over, and Sanju was brilliant. As far as West Indies, I thought West Indies, they were all right. West Indies bowling is always their weakest suit. It's their batting they depend more on. But again, their spinners have done really well in the past. But I think the dew played its part as well. It was always going to be difficult bowling in the second innings with dew, good pitch to bat on, small ground, and then that batting attack of India. That depth that India has was absolutely magnificent. A quick shout out for Shivam as well, came in and hit a couple of very important boundaries. Hardik wicket fell at a very crucial stage and a difficult one, but then Shivam came out, 2 boundaries, super, one on the leg side, one on the off side, and that took the pressure off, because in the end, in the last over, if you take those boundaries out, then India still, and that double in the last ball, I think India would still be needing 13-14, which you still back India, but would have been under pressure then. But then those 2 boundaries made sure India needed 7 of the last over, and then Sanju finished it in style, a 6. That's 6 of the first ball, then a boundary of the second. Yeah, he didn't get to his 100, and that also says a lot about him. And we'll talk more about Sanju, but it was such a good run chase. You would say this is one of the best games that India's had in this World Cup, especially with the bat. Well, turning point for me was the whole innings of Sanju Samson, and I'll tell you why. Because I've had quite a few debates with people who say the role of sheet anchor, it does not exist anymore, where everyone comes out and tries to hit fours and sixes and maximize every delivery. All that is good, and my take has always been the role still exists and it's an important one. How you define that role, that has changed depending on the score. So for example, this was a high scoring game, so you need a sheet anchor who would score at a higher strike rate and not that 120, 125. And Sanju Samson, and that was a perfect sheet anchor role that you can think of in a high scoring game, where it was in different phases, right? In three phases. First phase, the power play, he comes out, he hits those big shots, he's looking for fours and sixes, takes his chances, and it pays off. But then 3 wickets, they fall for India. Couple of them in the power play, and then Surya goes, and then Sanju changes his track a little bit. Then he goes into a little more conservative way, where he then obviously was helped obviously by Tilak Verma, but then he then took a step back and then he played those middle phases, making sure he did not. So he played percentage cricket and he played risk-free cricket, and also he has that ability. I mean, this innings was said so much about his maturity, his ability. Then that was the second phase, right? And then came the last phase, where again he just took it away, obviously with help from the other batters as well. I thought that was a perfect sheet anchor role that he played in a high scoring game. It was absolutely brilliant, and looking forward to more of these from Sanju, to be fair, because he has this ability, he has this quality, and he's had it for ages. We've seen him do this. That's what at times can be frustrating with Sanju, because you know he can play innings like that more often than what he has in the past. And I just hope he turns a corner with this innings. He turns a page with this innings in his career. Because if he can play more of these, a little more consistently, India anyways is unstoppable in the past. It would be more so with Sanju Samson in a form like that. Well, India finally has made it to the semis. It obviously isn't as smooth as India would have liked it to be, or we would have, as India fans would have liked it to be, but it doesn't really matter. But I think this game was so important, where I think this was one of the better batting innings and a really good run chase. We haven't had a batting innings like this in this tournament so far. This is a perfect T20 batting innings you can think of. Now, one of the concerns that I still have is Varun Chakravarti's form. Again, he was too short or too full. I know Eden is not a very bowler friendly, and that to spinner friendly venue, but a venue where he is so used to and he's done so well in the last few years for KKR. That's a little bit of a concern for me, because you depend heavily on two bowlers. One is obviously Jasprit Bumrah, the other is Varun Chakravarti. Yeah, that's just starting to concern me a little bit, how he's bowled in the last 3 games. So a lot of positives out of this game, and I personally believe, and I think I did have mentioned this is one of the best games in this World Cup that India has played. So yeah, it just seems like peaking at the right time. So are the other teams, mind you. South Africa peaking at the right time, England peaking at the right time, and so is India. So yeah, it's gonna be a challenging one, the next phase, but so far so good. Thank you so much for watching Super Over Decoded, an initiative by Elite Sports.